So let's talk about where this goes next. We alluded in the previous video that we need to come up with some rules to come up with rules for products and quotients taking their derivatives. Well, if you think about the trig functions we did today, we did the derivative of sine of x and cosine of x. That means that we left off 4 other trig functions. We left off tangent, secant, cosecant, and cotangent. So let's just talk about probably the next one in line here. How do we find the derivative of the tangent of x? Well, if we tried the limit definition, it's not pretty at all. In fact, if we did the tangent of x plus h, the only way you can really do that is you have to break that up as the sine of x plus h over the cosine of x plus h. And then the numerator becomes that nasty sine angle addition identity. The denominator becomes the cosine identity. And then you have that going on with minus tangent x. It's an algebraic nightmare to handle it that way. But what we really want to focus on is we know that tangent of x is equal to the sine of x over the cosine of x. Now, as I've said in previous videos, when we take the derivative of a quotient, so instead of taking the derivative of tangent of x, in order to prove what it is, I'm actually going to take the derivative of sine of x over cosine of x. Now then, we've seen in some examples we've worked, I can't just take the derivative of the numerator and the denominator and then kind of work it that way. It doesn't work that way for derivatives. And so what we really need to know, if we can take the derivative of this quotient, and we'll learn how to take the derivative of a quotient in topic 2.9. The next topic, 2.8, is going to focus how to take the derivative of a product of 2 functions. 2.9, we'll actually learn how to take the derivative of a quotient, and that's how we'll actually figure out what the derivative of tangent is. So if we can take the derivative of a quotient, then we can find the derivative of tangent and the other remaining trig functions. So if you think about what we're going to do, in fact, we will find the remaining 4 trig functions. We'll talk about their derivatives in topic 2.10. And what it's going to come down to is all of the other 4 trig functions we can break down in terms of sine and cosine. Tangent is sine over cosine, cotangent is cosine over sine, secant is 1 over cosine, and cosecant is 1 over sine. And so we can break them down into those quotients involving sines and cosines. And then once we know how to take the derivative of a quotient, we don't have to go through the full limit definition in order to find the derivatives of those trig functions. We'll actually have enough material in our toolbox of taking derivatives that we'll be able to take the derivative of sine of x over cosine x using this quotient rule rather than having to run that through the very rigorous limit definition of the derivative. And that's really how we close out Unit 2 here, is we'll do the product rule in topic 2.8, we'll learn how to take the derivatives of quotients in 2.9, and then we'll look at the remaining 4 trig functions in topic 2.10.